Feelings can be so overwhelming sometimes. Feelings can take over your life. They pop up in your mind and seize your reality, spiraling you into a world of thoughts and questions. That inevitability leads you to a world of suffering and pain and discomfort. Feelings feel real. They feel like there's nothing more important and more happening than them. And because of that, they're so easy for us to get lost in. They're so easy for us to suffer. But our feelings are not things. They have never been things. Our feelings aren't even our emotions. They're not based on reality. They're not based on what is happening, or even what we think is happening, but rather how we interpret the emotions that we're experiencing and then what we think we're supposed to feel based on what we felt in the past, in similar circumstances, to what we think these circumstances are. I know that was a bit of a mouthful, so take a second to think about it. Your feelings aren't real. They are a story your mind is creating, pulling from all the things you think are you, from all the experiences of your past and all the ideas of your future, in which all your labels of the past form a narrative in the present, none of them having to do anything with what is actually happening. In the end, all feelings are just thoughts. Thoughts that you empower by focusing on, thoughts that you empower by thinking about, thoughts that you allow to control your life and dictate your reality, but thoughts that aren't real. We opt for feelings over emotion all the time. We've turned the word emotional into a derogative term, psychiatry doing anything in its power, usually drugs, to keep people's emotions in check, while sitting them down, week by week, and try to find out what their feelings are about the week's events. And as we've moved away from an emotional world to a world caught up and focused on its feelings, we've moved away from the experience of life to a life of thoughts. Emotions exist as a response to the world as it is happening. Sadness, happiness, fear, disgust, and love being the primary emotions, the ones that the wellspring of feelings and a handful of secondary emotions can arise from. But emotions can be overwhelming. Emotions can be scary. Most people have been so trained in filtering their emotions into feelings that to experience the emotion unfiltered, to let it rise and fall, concerns them, because they don't know what they will do with just the emotion alone, without putting themselves, their minds, their thoughts, their beliefs as a filter for the emotion. What is it to just experience sadness? Not be sad, not feeling grief, not feeling despair, not feeling down, but the actual experience of sadness. We know our feelings so well because they are what we think they are, even when they're not pleasant. They're just as much of our explanation of the world as they are an explanation of ourself. But the emotion, this thing we don't control, this thing that rises up inside of us from stimuli we sometimes aren't even aware of. Emotions are scary. They catch us off guard. They sometimes trigger so easily and so quickly, and sometimes they can't seem to get triggered at all. Our emotions often remain a mystery to us, just as we sit around and don't think about our hair growing, our heart beating, our lungs breathing. We don't think our body emoting. And yet, because we've gotten so far away from understanding what lies beneath all these feelings that we so easily allow to define our lives, we never truly understand what peace is possible in our lives. There is no escaping emotion. You are here, if there is any reason at all for you to be here, to experience this existence, to experience the ups and downs, the roller coaster of emotions that life brings. No matter your station in life, no matter the wealth or lack thereof, life is here to be experienced in all the ways that it can be. And part of that experience is your emotions. But when you strip away the need to make sense of your emotions, when you stop trying to link them to the narrative of the experience, to say this is happiness and this sadness, this is good and this is bad, this is right and this is wrong, and instead experience life as it was always meant to be experienced, in the understanding of the here and now, experiencing reality taking shape and form in front of you as it's happening, and leaving the emotions from experiences behind as the next experience arises. existence takes on a different form. Feeling colors the moment regardless of what happens, confusing the emotions, and thus often confusing you as well. Feelings hijack your perspective of the world and become an object on to themselves. And this serves a purpose in some ways. Don't get me wrong. It helps us learn and grow, to develop a better understanding of how to act and how to experience the world here and now. At least when we don't let the feeling become the emotion, and we recognize it for what it is, a thought. But we walk a fine line every time we try to do such things. We stand at a knife's edge, and many can't help but falling over, turning the feeling into the reality, and moving away from the experience of the now as it is happening. And when you do that, when you get lost in the feeling, it becomes impossible to see and experience now. You begin to trap yourself in the illusion of your own separate existence. And in doing that, you miss out on one of the greatest gifts that is always there in front of you: true and eternal peace. To let go of your feelings isn't to turn yourself into a robot. Instead, it will liberate you into truly experiencing life and existence as it has always been meant to be experienced. Like waves, emotions ebb and flow through the body. Sometimes they'll crash like a tsunami. Other times, they'll mistily offer a cool breeze on a hot day. But they come and go. They rise and fall. They are, and then they aren't, and then you move on to the next. Feeling can hang around after the event has passed. When you can allow yourself to experience the world without thought, you begin to experience the truth of your existence, that you are not in control, that you don't need to be in control, that you're not behind, and you're not ahead, that you're exactly where you were always supposed to be, that you're doing exactly what you were always supposed to do. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing right. You are not, and have never been, something separate from the universe. You are here to experience what you're experiencing right now, and it's okay. Whatever happens, life or death, pain or pleasure, whatever happens, it's going to be okay. Because whatever's happening in the right here and right now can never be anything else. It could only be this. And when you realize this, when you truly experience the world without the colors and shades of your feelings, then you realize the one truth that is so hard for most to realize. You are perfect and complete.